This is an NYY Sports Talk podcast, presented to you by Baseballism, a premium lifestyle apparel brand inspired by America's pastime. Baseballism is America's brand.
What's up, Yankee fans? Thanks for tuning in to episode 17 of the Bronx Prescription Podcast, where I am going to break down the Yankees' recent series against the Boston Red Sox. Hope you're ready. Hope you tuned in. A Lego. Episode 17 of the Bronx Prescription Podcast, brought to you by Baseballism.com. I'm your host, Chris, and before I get into anything, I'm going to ask you to leave a rating and review in iTunes or wherever you're listening. That allows you to do so. Please subscribe to the show as well. And you can also watch on the NYYST YouTube channel. I planned to come on a long time ago. About 3 hours ago, maybe 4, closer to 4 hours ago. But we have some new technology, and it took me 4 hours to just finally figure it out. Make sure it sounded right, make sure it looked right, so on and so forth. So here I am now at 1 a.m. When I was supposed to be on around 10 o'clock. I was going to go live on Twitter. I still might mid-show. But there were a couple things that I wanted to talk about. A lot of it I'm going to elaborate during the main show, the NYYST podcast, that you hear me talk about every single episode, because I want you guys to go check that show out as well. Subscribe to that show if you haven't already. Leave a rating and review, so on and so forth, all that fun stuff. Really what I have to say is that this is why you don't panic in baseball. Yeah, listen, these first couple of weeks have been really frustrating. Really frustrating. Same thing with last year, right? First 18 games, they went 9-9. The Yankees are what, 8-9 right now through 17? Hey, they win one more. They're the same place they were last year. And last year, don't know if you remember, they won 100 games. So, take it for what it is. Yeah, they didn't go anywhere in the playoffs. I get it. But winning 100 games is a big deal. It's a really big deal. The Yankees, I've said this 100 times, the Yankees were the first team ever since divisions were created to win 100 games and not win their division. You think that's going to happen again? You can already see how flawed the Red Sox are. And that's not to say they're going to be a shitty team, because they're not going to be. But they didn't feel a need to build their bullpen. They didn't feel a need to shore up some of the guys in the rotation. Something else I've said 100 times, Chris Sale every single year falls off the face of the earth. And at the end of the year, because of his arm. And now you're seeing it kind of spill into the season already. Are they going to be as good as last year? No. Not many teams will ever be that good. Not many. But they're going to be good. They're going to compete. Excuse me. But this is the beginning of a season. These seasons are so long, you have to remind yourself every single year how much of a roller coaster ride it is. Because that's what it is. It's a crazy up and down roller coaster ride. This same exact team that made you feel like shit just a few days ago has you on top of the earth right now. I feel great. This team looked awesome. Not only did they just sweep the Red Sox in a 2-game set, but they did it in 2 different ways. You got dominant absolutely dominant pitching by James Paxton last night. And this offense showed up to shore up the win. And then the next night, you have a guy like Happ come out who's been struggling, his first however many starts. I think that was his fourth start. I could be wrong. You have him come out and struggle right away, but he settles in very nicely, and keeps your team in it long enough for the offense to explode. Brett Gardner, huge grand slam. And all of a sudden you look up and the Yankees are winning again. And the bullpen comes in and does its job like this team's supposed to. And now, they're one game under 500 still, but guess what? You're feeling really good about this team. That's how quickly it changes. And again, something I'm going to elaborate a little more on within the next week on the main show is that I think a big problem with everyone in this country, including myself, we're all guilty of it. A big problem is that we can't isolate negativity. When the Yankees play a shitty, before these two games when they were the worst team we've ever seen in the first 15, what does everyone say? Everyone sits there and says, this team sucks. This season's lost. I can't believe how bad they're playing. They suck. They'll never win anything. I've had people tweet me that they are not going to win a World Series. They're not built that way. That was after like 6 games. Can't imagine what he felt after 15. The problem is we can't isolate negativity. We can never just sit here and say, the Yankees suck right now. The Yankees have sucked through the first 15 games of the season. It's always just they suck. They'll never be good. Cashman sucks. Hal sucks. He's cheap. This is what happens when you go get guys like Tulowitzki instead of Manny Machado. It's never just isolating the situation, and it's something I've become a lot more aware of in the last few years of my life. And it's not our fault. It's really not. I don't know when it started, but negativity is hardwired into our brains. You turn on the news, it's not one positive story anymore. And they're fucking happy about it. I turned on the news the other day. They were like, 24-year-old man shot and killed and then ran over by a car. We'll be back after this to tell you the full story. Smiling. They were fucking happy. They were so excited to tell the story. And as citizens of this country, as people who live here and watch this shit, we sit there and go, holy shit. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear about it. I love negativity. We love to be negative. That's why when the Yankee manager gets on and they just lost another series to the White Sox, and he says things like, we're close, we're getting there, I'm not going to do anything differently, we're just going to keep working hard. That's why it pisses us off. Because we don't want to hear that. We want to hear what we feel. And if we don't hear it, we just flip the fuck out. And that can't happen in baseball. The Yankees hired Aaron Boone for a reason. And you can say whatever you want. You can say they hired him because he's a puppet, because he's going to do what Cashman says. And you know what? Part of that is true. part of the reason they hired him is because he is an analytical guy, and Cashman likes that, and he's not very experienced as a manager. Obviously, we all know he only has 1 year under his belt. But that's not the only reason why. They wanted a guy who can have relationships with these players. Whether you like that or not, whether you think that's the right move or not, they do. They have a bunch of young guys who want to gel with their manager, and that's fine. But on top of that, they wanted an even-keeled guy who isn't going to just flip out and lose it and start doing irrational things just because they've lost a couple games in a row. They want a guy who's going to go out there and say the same thing over and over, whether we like to hear it or not. They want a guy who's going to keep a level-headed clubhouse, no matter what. And you know what? I agree with it with this group of guys. I do. Aaron Boone is always going to give you the same Aaron Boone time and time again. And as long as they win, I'm okay with it. Yeah, it gets frustrating. As much as I love Aaron Boone, it gets frustrating for me too. But look what happened. There's not one Yankee fan out there right now that isn't just overly excited with what they just did to the Boston Red Sox. Best part about it too is that they've been shitty all year so far. We've exploited their weaknesses. One being Chris Sale, and now tonight the other being their bullpen. And their offense hasn't done shit either. You gotta love that. You have to. And on top of it, we got things we haven't seen all year yet. We got to see James Paxton be James Paxton. We got to see this bullpen come in a close game late in the game and not blow it. That's awesome. I'm happy. It means nothing as far as the grand scheme of things. Now we need to start putting it together. They're not healthy. They are beyond injured. And they're never going to be able to play up to the potential that we expect them to until they get healthy. At least healthier than they are now. And I get that. But the injuries were never an excuse for losing series to the White Sox and the Orioles and teams like that. They should have still been winning those games, and they proved it over the last two nights. They beat the Boston Red Sox. I don't give a shit if the Boston Red Sox were 0-15. They're way better than the White Sox and the Orioles. But they clicked. That's what you wait for. You wait for the unexpected hero in Mike Tauchman, or as Sterling calls him, Nick Tauchman. You wait for those guys to just kind of break out, be the hero, and this team to click, and that's exactly what happened. Tonight, you thought, it was a feel-good win last night, and now all of a sudden they're back to their ways. They're going to end up losing this game. We're going to split this series. But no, this wasn't the same team that we've been watching over the last couple of weeks tonight. This was a team that, injured or not, clicked. It's what we've all been waiting for since the start of the year. We have to remember to stay patient. Always. Because this season is too long to freak out over 15, 16, 17 games, even 30 games. Christian said it the other day on our last episode. He said, 2009 Yankees, I think it was after 34 games, that team was under 500. We all know what they did that year, right? That's baseball. Susan, that's fucking baseball. This isn't football. This isn't 16 games. It's 162. And I think for all you football fans out there, which is most people, I think you forget that when the season starts. We don't need to be the greatest team ever the second they step out onto the field to start the season. Does that mean these games aren't important? Absolutely not. They are important. Every game is important. Every win is important. What I'm saying is not that these games don't matter. What I'm saying is that they're not the end of the world. Think of it this way. The Yankees started the season 8-9 right now. We don't know what they're going to do over the next 2 weeks, so we have to take them as 8-9. Is it good? No. Should they have been better? Absolutely. So why are we all sitting here saying, this sucks, it's over, we're done, this team's awful, they're injured, they can't win? What if this 8-9 stretch happened in July? Just in the middle of the year, it was just a stretch over 18 games where they almost played, let's say they win their next game, where they played 500 ball over 18 games. You know how many times the Yankees probably did that over the last 2 years? But it's amplified because it's the start of the season. It's amplified. And that's okay. We're all passionate, right? We're all passionate fans, so we're going to feel what we feel. I've been big on that this whole season so far. Feel your feelings. It's okay. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to want to fucking break your television after they lose another home series to the Chicago White Sox. It's okay. What's not okay is to not just feel angry because of this stretch of games. People get angry because they say this team's done, or this team sucks, or this team this team that. This team is unknown. We don't know what this team is going to do. We've seen too many teams start a season shitty, just like the 2009 Yankees, and win the World Series. You don't know. It's too long of a season, so please isolate the negativity. Because look what happens after 2 days. No one's negative right now. If you're a negative Yankee fan right now, then go fucking root for another team, because now you're just looking for something to complain about. Any fans out there that, I haven't even been on Twitter. Like I said, I've been working on this for 4 hours now. But I'm sure there's some people out there on Twitter, on social media, just sitting there going, yeah, big deal. They fucking beat the Red Sox 2 games. Who cares? They're still under 500. This team still has a long way to go. They suck. They this, they that. Those are the fans you stay away from. And I'm sorry if you're one of them listening. But those are the fans you stay away from because they're just looking to complain about something. If you're a true fan, you are on top of the world right now. Because it's not easy to isolate negativity, but it sure as hell is easy to isolate when you're feeling good. And these last 2 games have made us forget how shitty we felt just 2 days ago about this team, about what we were seeing, about all these injuries. That's the beauty of baseball. This team is going to be great. They need to get healthy. Sevy, I don't know when he's going to come back. I don't. But if Paxton's going to step up, Tanaka's going to be strong, CeCe's going to do what CeCe does, maybe they get by without him until he comes back. My bigger concern is Betances. We need him back. Anyway, this team's going to be great. Stay focused. Stay positive. Let's hope that they clicked. Let's hope that this is it now with the shitty baseball. And hey, we just fucking swept the Boston Red Sox. I don't know when I'll be back. Hopefully next week. I promised everyone that listens that I was going to be more consistent once the season started, but we have a lot going on at NYY Sports Talk. We have a lot of new things we've incorporated, like this video you're watching. It's just taken a lot of time. And I have 2 young kids, a wife that... Let me get comfortable here. A wife that supports me. It's fucking 1 a.m. She was just texting me asking... She thought I died, probably. I'm still not in bed. I have 2 young kids who consume every second of me the second I get home. So doing the main show twice a week again now that the season starts, it's just been difficult. But you know what? Tonight, I had to mess around with a couple things. I wanted to test a couple things. And I really wanted to get on here to do a post-game show for you to listen to in the morning. I thought it was important. I'm going to try and do every week. I'm going to try my best. These shows, this show, Christian's own show, Hitting Hard, they're really just to give some extra content. We're not looking to go mainstream with those shows like the main show. It'd be great if they do, but, you know, we're just here to give you extra content, and I'm going to try and be more consistent because I do have a lot of subscribers to the show. I do get a lot of downloads every episode, so I appreciate that. And as a thank you, as someone who, you know, understands that you deserve a show every single week at least, I'm going to do my best. Thank you for listening. Again, tentatively, I'll be back next week. Let's hope the Yankees continue on this streak, folks. I want to stay positive. Again, leave us a rating and review on iTunes. Check out Baseballism.com. By the way, Baseballism.com, if you use NYYST as the promo code, you save 15%. Fucking incredible apparel, incredible everything. And I'm not just saying that. Go on there, check them out. I promise you, you will not regret it. And don't forget to use NYYST at checkout. Thank you to Baseballism.com. Follow them on Twitter at Baseballism. Follow me on Twitter at Chris_Jr_NYYST. Follow the main show, NYYST Podcast. You can follow us at NYY Sports Talk. Thank you for listening. I couldn't be happier right now. Let's keep winning, and I'm out.